that it was a fair fight, and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
Few weeks of this trial have destroyed the idea that Amber Heard is a defenseless victim of domestic violence. This case is going to make judges and juries think twice before finding the female victim of domestic abuse has truly been battered. That is the bad result from having an untrue domestic violence article written. People are going to question whether or not these really are victims of domestic violence. That makes me very, very sad.
Today's verdict confirms what we have said from the beginning, that the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence. We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation.
Our judicial system is predicated on each person's right to have his or her case heard, and we were honored, truly honored, to assist Mr. Depp in ensuring that his case was fairly considered throughout the trial. We are also most pleased that the trial has resonated for so many people in the public who value truth and justice.
And welcome to Ask an Older Man. Now, why would you do that? We got all the experience. We've been here a while, and I can tell you that we've probably experienced a lot more than you younger generation. With that said, let's talk about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard issue. I feel like I need to put in my 2 cents on this issue, simply because there's a great lesson that society should learn from this particular couple. As a married man of 18 years, and also I've been married twice before, I can tell you, we all go through these episodes with your partner where, there's conflicts, there's arguments. I mean, that is life. The issue is, can you come out on the other side? Can you not hurt the other person that bad whereby the relationship is recoverable? The problem that I see in relationships today, and you guys can comment below and tell me if I'm wrong, is that it almost as if males and females are fighting for more. Women want more in a relationship than a man can provide, and they're not willing to settle for anything less. And even in the middle of the relationship, they're still pushing for more. Whereby men technically only want peace. They just want a peaceful life. As I talk to more and more men on this channel, I seem to get the same issues coming up over and over and over again. The issue that we're going to discuss today is domestic violence. Domestic violence is a big issue. And most people just don't understand. In order for violence to be demonstrated, it is as if you need to bring the battle scars from the violence. You need to have bruises, you need to have cuts, you need to show some visible sign that you've been taken advantage of, that you have been abused. Let's talk about abuse. Abuse between women and men are completely different. Even though women know exactly when they're being abusive, because women fight emotionally. Women fight emotionally. Their weapon is emotional abuse, mental abuse.
Amber Heard had a fight with Johnny Depp, and she decided she was going to shit in his bed on his side of it. And then she just got dressed up and left to go to a concert with her friends. That act of hers was symbolic of exactly how she treated him throughout this marriage. I don't know how anyone could forget anyone treating another person like this.
My brother's ex-girlfriend destroy his home after they break up.
Oh, that was pretty too. What?
Like we used to.
She burned his birth certificate, social security card, and suit. Broken glass everywhere. She broke every window she could. He called the police 6 times begging for help. Not one time did he lay a hand on her as she destroyed his home in front of his eyes. She broke his monitor, computer, keyboard, and a mattress. As she smashed the shower, she laughed and said, "Oh, that was so pretty," taunting him. She put a total of 71 holes and dents into the wall. Ripped wallpaper and more broken glass.
Men's abuse is usually physical. And let me explain the difference between a man and a woman. When 2 men have a conflict, when I meet another man and him and I disagree on one thing, and neither of us back off from each other, it inevitably will lead to both of us fighting physically. And usually the man who overpowers the other one wins the argument, okay? Or wins the problem, solves the problem. I don't know how you want to put it, but literally, the one who's gotten his butt kicked, he puts his hands up and say, "All right, cool, I'm good, I'm good." Now, most men know the degree of violence that could occur, and he knows how to control his violence as not to kill or permanently lame the other person in this escalation to physical violence. We know that as all men, we know that. We know when to say, okay, we stop. And the other person knows when to concede because he knows that the other man could potentially kill him with his bare hands. It's not difficult for one man to hit another man and kill him. At the escalation, at the peak of that argument, we have an explosion as men, we fight, and then we have a conclusion. Fear. Here's the problem with females. We cannot touch females, so it is okay for a female to keep abusing and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And as long as she doesn't hit us, where we can claim self-defense, she can verbally abuse the crap out of the man. The man then has to walk away from that. But what has happened, he's taken that mental abuse, he has taken that stress, and now he has to either take it and have an outlet somewhere else, in the gym, on a boxing bag, another woman, you name it, it has to be an outlet. Some guys do drugs, some guys drive fast cars. We need an outlet to get rid of that aggression because it builds to a point where it becomes a problem. We men know that these women are protected by law. In other words, you cannot strike a woman. That is it. Because the woman is always right. She can mentally abuse the man to the point where he could go crazy. And then you wonder why society is now dealing with a lot of men with so much aggression and problems. Because men don't have areas where he can let out his aggression without being accused of being hypermasculine. This is another stupid word. Hypermasculinity and toxic masculinity. That's a whole other discussion in another video, which is basically bullshit. It is basically a woman saying, don't be a man, you gotta sometimes be a woman. Men, please do not do that. Do not become a female just because the woman tells you that you should calm yourself down and become more ladylike or more feminine, because that's literally falling into the worst trap ever. Because when you become more feminine, she will stop respecting you and eventually she will start cheating on you. Trust me, I know. I've seen it happen many times, and I'm sure you guys see it as well. None of you ladies want a more feminine man. None of you. Despite your your crazy opinions that a man should be more feminine. No female wants a man that is feminine. None. Unless you want to dominate him to the point where he becomes your little bitch and he stays in his place. Eventually, you'll leave him. I can guarantee you it. I see it every day. Women these days are much more masculine in their demeanor, much more aggressive, because they feel that they have to be like that, for one, to compete with other men, and two, for some reason, they think that they're the boss bitch and the one that are supposed to be like this strong, confident woman, and that men should actually appreciate and love that. No! Ladies, for all you ladies that are having a hard time finding a man, and if you look at every single one of these YouTube videos that really focus a lot on what women want a strong man. But a lot of women don't ask, what does the man want? A man don't want a boss bitch or a strong, independent woman. He wants a feminine woman. Woman who's fit, feminine, friendly, and agreeable. Those are the 4 things men look for. But I digress a bit. Let's talk about the whole Amber Heard issue. The problem is there are a lot of men who are being mentally abused in their homes and they're not being heard. Huge problem. Just this morning alone at the gym, I spoke to one gentleman from Portugal who, big, strong dude, who tell me he's dealing with the same problem at home with his wife. Just the aggressive attitude that are coming out of women, and it's turning men off. Ladies, you have to dial it back. I understand that you're trying to compete with men in the workplace, but that's not the way to compete with men. A great subject that I'm going to be discussing in another video is how women should compete in the workplace, but still in her femininity, in her feminine mode. Women can still be feminine and be 10 times more powerful than men. But for some reason, women think that they have to become men to compete with men. Sure, you can do that, but I can tell you, you will never become as masculine as a man that you're competing with in the workplace. Men, that is our natural space. We act like men. So if you want to compete with a man in his space, and you got to realize you cannot be more masculine than a man. Tell me how that's possible. Now let's reverse the roles. If I said to you, I need to be more feminine to get along with women. Yeah, crickets. I can hear the crickets because you now see that if I reverse the roles, you realize how bizarre and crazy that sounds. At any point, if I start to become more feminine, I am looked at as either soft, gay, and blah, blah, blah. We can go into all of the derogatory terms that we call soft men. Gentlemen, ladies, understand that if you are mentally abusing your husband and he hasn't hit you, you are fighting an unfair fight. Eventually you will lose your man. I can tell you this. Because men don't want to be with aggressive women. Men only want one thing. Peace. When he comes home, he wants. Our home is a place of sanctuary where we get away from the world. We come home, we just want peace. And that's the way you should conduct your home. Keep it peaceful. Stop the nagging, stop the aggressive behavior. Everybody wants peace. You want peace when you come home. Your home should be a peaceful place. We go out and we fight in the world. We both are working. We're both modern individuals. We're both working. When we come home, we want that peace. But for some reason, if women don't have that excitement in their life, they feel that their life is boring or their marriage is boring. Marriages are supposed to be boring because boring simply means that it is calm. Stop looking at boring as something bad. Boring basically means calm, meaning you know that your husband comes home at the same time every day. He smells the same way every day. He hasn't done anything outside the norm where you have to stress about. Excitement is when something has changed. I'll give you an example. Let's just say, for example, your husband took you to fine restaurants 3-4 times a week. I can assure you in the beginning, it's going to be exciting. But trust me, 1, 2, 3 months down the line, it's going to be boring because you have become used to it. Anything that you have become accustomed to or has become normal becomes boring. Same thing with your sex. You know his moves. He knows your moves. He knows what excites you. You know what excites him. It's normal. Your place should be a place of peace. Your home should be a place of peace. That's it. And if you bring that to a man, he will love you forever. Create drama and create stress for the man, you're going to have a problem. You'll lose him. But when we look at the Amber Heard issue, all I'm saying to you ladies is be careful about the mental abuse, the stuff that he can't prove. Men, my advice to you, if you start to detect these things in your females, warn her about it, identify and show her where she's being mentally abusive. And if she keeps it up, if she continues with it, you need to start going into survival mode. Start recording some of these conversations. Do what Johnny Depp did.
As a divorce lawyer, let me tell you this. If you get into a marriage and within a few weeks, your wife is hitting you and being the aggressor and not allowing you to leave, you need to divorce her, not after a year, but as soon as possible. You need to get away from that kind of crazy situation. If it's a girlfriend or a wife, you need out. And you need to act sooner than later.
If those recordings of him and Amber Heard weren't documented, he would have not had the proof that this woman was actually doing this to him. Abuse comes in 2 forms, physical and mental. The mental is the worst. The bruises go away. The mental scars takes decades to heal. Remember that. Anyway, I don't want to babble on too much about it, but ladies, I want you guys to be aware of it. Make sure you're not mentally abusing your spouse, because that makes you the bad person as well. Men, be aware that this is occurring and you have to learn to take action to protect yourself. Because what you don't want to happen is one day you come to the end of your rope and you unleash the years and years of pent-up frustration on your spouse, and you then end up in jail. You've got to be able to prove that this woman has been abusive to you as well. Okay, so anyway, guys, thanks for listening. And of course, please subscribe and then tune in next time for my next video. Cool.